Cody was always very.
Everyone praises Janelle as the calm, reasonable wife, but what if she's been one of the most complicit all along?
Nacho eating, just kind of the couch potato.
In one of the most baffling moments of the infamous nachos conversation, Janelle beams with a grin so wide it borders on unsettling. While Robin shifts from polite smile to tight-lipped frown, and Mary stares in stony silence, Janelle radiates something closer to delight. Was it relief that, for once, she wasn't the target of Cody's body shaming? Quite possibly. After all, Cody has long wielded insults like weapons, and Janelle, though rarely his target, has had a front row seat for years.
We didn't do what we have done in the past, where we all went out and kind of hashed it out.
Janelle's history in the family has always been defined by a peculiar silence. For seasons, she stood by as Cody humiliated Mary and Christine, intervening only when his cruelty finally landed on her and her children. Her alliance with Christine only formed after her own household became collateral damage. It's the classic strategy of coexisting with a bully. Let him torment others so long as he spares you.
Well, I know that Janelle had come to me. I was just like, make sure that you protect yourself.
Her contempt for Mary was especially obvious in the early years. Whenever Mary spoke, Janelle's expression broadcasted disdain loud enough to drown out the dialogue. This was no sisterly bond of solidarity. It was barely concealed satisfaction as rivals were picked apart. The wives were conditioned to blame each other rather than Cody, or the church and culture that enabled him. Only once distanced from the system have they begun to shift their perspectives, though never fully.
So it becomes a permanent thing?
It's in your skin. It's surgery where they.
Still, Janelle is not without contradictions. She is at times warm, sympathetic, and loving, at others withdrawn, passive, even complicit. To some, those moments of detachment read as laziness. More likely, they are symptoms of depression and disillusionment, a survival tactic within a marriage that chewed up optimism and spat out resignation. The bright, hopeful women who once believed in plural harmony were reduced to hollow shells by Cody's relentless control.
Be a big boy and reconcile it. You've been bitching about that for 6 months now.
Yet, Janelle has her sharper edges. She has betrayed confidences, as when Christine confessed her desire to leave Cody in Las Vegas, only for Janelle to immediately relay the information to Cody, who then passed it along to Robin.
She was like, I don't know, I just thought she was a princess.
She has mocked Christine as a princess, smiled smugly during Christine's most painful clashes with Cody, and orchestrated confrontations under the guise of family meetings. Her loyalties have always been more pragmatic than principled, shifting to whichever alliance best preserved her own stability. The nachos grin, then, is hardly a mystery. It was amusement, a private joke at Cody's expense. Here was the man declaring he was repulsed by a chubby girl, while his own wife sitting inches away was significantly larger than chubby. The irony was too rich to resist. Yet even this response reveals something darker. The instinct to laugh off humiliation rather than confront it. To appear in on the joke rather than risk becoming the punchline.
It's plural marriage, for goodness sakes. And for years, jealousy is a real...
And Janelle is hardly unique. All the wives have indulged in petty cruelty at one time or another. They schemed, backbit, and undermined each other while Cody delighted in the chaos. Janelle marrying Cody on Mary's birthday. Christine angling for moral superiority. Robin cloaking manipulation in tears. Each played their part in a toxic game. None of them emerged saintly. What remains remarkable is not their cruelty, but the double standard with which viewers excuse it. Some wives are vilified, while others are canonized, depending on who managed to spin the narrative first. Christine's early exit and quick embrace of public sympathy positioned her as the truth teller, while Janelle, smiling through humiliation, enabling Cody, and privately reveling in others' downfall, remains harder to categorize. She may be likable, yes, but also complicit, calculated, and at times cruel. In the end, Janelle's legacy within the Brown family is not her warmth or her pragmatism, but her contradictions, She is both survivor and enabler, victim and accomplice. And that radiant Nacho Knight smile, it wasn't joy or nervousness or solidarity. It was the smirk of someone who knew the hypocrisy in front of her and decided to enjoy the show. Christine didn't just write a memoir. She wrote a takedown of Cody and Robin hidden between the lines. Christine Brown's memoir is not merely a retelling of her life with Cody Brown. It is a scavenger hunt of sly jabs, inside jokes, and pointed asides. Easter eggs planted for the fans who've endured every season of Sister Wives. These are not the headline revelations, such as the family's relocation to Flagstaff or Cody's parade of cruelty, but the carefully chosen throwaway lines whose meaning is clear only to longtime viewers. The Thanksgiving section alone is a study in precision shade.
If you want me to. Yeah, if we want to.
I do want you to.
Okay, cool.
Christine mentions that Cody loved Mary's turkey, a seemingly benign comment until one recalls the later years, when Mary could do nothing right in Cody's eyes. A small reminder, slipped in with surgical calm, that the family mythology has always been selective. Other gems come in the form of word choice.
Man, just the knife in the kidneys over all these years.
The casual insertion of the phrase, "a knife in the kidneys," a line that has haunted viewers since its dramatic deployment during the breakup, makes an appearance in an entirely unrelated context. Christine doesn't need to wield the knife herself. The reference alone twists it perfectly. Her discussion of Mormon garments carries another wink. She notes that they are meant to be worn even under wetsuits, a detail so oddly specific it can only be a callback to the infamous honeymoon footage of Cody and Robin without theirs. Subtle? No. Delicious? Absolutely. Christine also revisits the contrast between the OG-13 kids and Robin's children.
I feel like our family personally and everyone else is like super, super, super loud.
Her descriptions of the original brood as tough, rowdy, and self-reliant stand in deliberate opposition to Robin's perpetually fragile offspring. Similarly, she notes that Robin had been a monogamist in her first marriage, a direct rebuke to Robin's attempt to style herself as a first wife in earlier narratives. The undermining is elegant in its simplicity. The theme of Robin as the exception resurfaces throughout.
Cody was always very focused on...
Busy mothers, Christine notes, have no time for eyeliner, yet Robin was always camera ready. Robin personally asked producer Tim Gibbons to film her in a flattering light, desperate for audience approval. And Christine's reference to the one true dress pointedly echoes the church's claim of being the one true religion. Each aside lands like a dagger disguised as a paper cut. Cody, of course, fares no better in these pages. Christine confirms what viewers suspected for years.
I was staying at Robin's house, and the other houses had older kids to put all the kids to bed.
He effectively moved into Robin's house during the birth of Solomon, while refusing even one extra night with Christine after Truly's arrival. Aspen, at 15, was left to run the household while her father busied himself tucking in Robin's children. The hypocrisy is staggering. Cody, who never lifted a finger in the original wives' homes, was suddenly capable of folding laundry at Robin's. It is less a revelation than a confirmation of long-standing suspicions, but hearing it in Christine's voice gives the betrayal fresh sting. Other throwaway lines provide moments of humor and catharsis. Her offhand admission that her first orgasm was an accident, 3 years into marriage, lands with comedic bluntness.
Robin has been off the radar. You have in your credit report 3 different last names.
Her realization in Las Vegas that she could handle a budget just fine, thank you, reads like a jab at Robin's history of debt. And the audiobook's closing flourish, Christine declaring, "I am not your wife anymore," is as cheeky as it is triumphant. Taken together, these Easter eggs transform the memoir into something more than a personal narrative. They are a quiet counter-narrative, a coded message to fans who've spent years piecing together the contradictions and hypocrisies of the Brown family saga. Christine doesn't shout. She doesn't need to. A turkey here, a wetsuit there, a stray mention of eyeliner, and the entire mythology of Robin and Cody collapses under the weight of its own absurdity. Cody Brown didn't just survive the pandemic, he weaponized it against his own family. Cody Brown should probably send a thank you card to COVID-19.
The rotation we had with my schedule before COVID was basically 2 nights.
Before the pandemic, his favoritism toward Robin was becoming more difficult to disguise with each passing year. He had all but set his sights on riding off into the monogamous sunset with her not long after their wedding, especially once he secured the adoption of her children.
Because it's bad on him if he leaves a wife high and dry.
But he was tethered to his first 3 marriages, bound by obligation and image. Then along came the perfect escape hatch, a global health crisis. Of course, Cody never treated COVID as a legitimate health concern.
It's the same as the nanny, right? You have a nanny over.
His precautions included officiating and dancing at a wedding while simultaneously employing a nanny for his youngest children.
She's not keeping the same rules. She's not doing the same thing.
Yet he weaponized inconsistent, vaguely defined household rules to justify shutting down family gatherings and snuffing out attempts at reconciliation.
Nobody came to my house, so why?
Even Mary, who followed his rules to the letter, was left outside the gates. The brilliance, or cowardice, of it all is that COVID gave him the ultimate excuse to do what he wanted all along.
My kids were always from the very beginning, they knew that their dad was not going to always be there.
Retreat into a pseudo-monogamous cocoon with Robin, his chosen soulmate, enabler, and supplier. The virus was not his obstacle. It was his liberation. For the original wives, this revelation was both devastating and clarifying. COVID exposed just how little they mattered to Cody and Robin, but it also proved that they were capable of managing alone, since they had effectively been doing so for years. The pandemic merely accelerated the inevitable. Cody formally choosing Robin and her children as his true family, while keeping the others around for financial convenience.
When we decided to be a plural family, and it just seems like we're all sort of whatever,
Had he possessed an ounce of courage, he might have used the family's Flagstaff relocation as the opportunity for a clean break. But then again, courage has never been Cody's strong suit. Money, however, remains a compelling reason to keep everyone technically on the roster. Robin's smiles on TV looked supportive, but the real story is what she said when the cameras weren't rolling.
You guys don't have to be nervous. I just wanted to have a chance to just kind of chit-chat with you guys.
Leon's coming out should have been a moment of genuine support within the family. At first glance, it appeared that Robin delivered exactly that: warmth, joy, and encouragement. She even took it upon herself to help other family members process the news. But, like most of Robin's well-timed smiles, the act doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Consider the revelation from Gwen. When she came out, Robin's reaction was less supportive mother figure and more producer in training, remarking that Gwen should have saved it for the cameras. Suddenly, Robin's glowing response to Leon looks less like acceptance and more like performance art, performed for the only audience that really matters to her, the viewers.
And Cody's the only one who goes from house to house, so...
Of course, her husband promptly disowned Leon and cut off contact. But Robin's televised compassion still plays in reruns. Off-camera, the so-called support evaporated, leaving Leon with little more than a clip for the highlight reel. This is hardly surprising, given that Cody's estrangement from his children is practically a family tradition. His selective disownment isn't limited to Leon. It extends to nearly everyone outside of Robin's bubble, with even McKelty, the last holdout, eventually falling out of favor.
I have fundamentalist friends, fundamentalist Mormon friends, polygamous, many of them.
Robin's comfort with Leon's announcement is also telling. It wasn't one of her children, after all. She and Cody cling to the well-worn mantra of love the sinner, hate the sin, a theology that offers just enough plausible deniability while still condemning LGBTQ+ identities. Their newfound church affiliation, predictably, echoes that same doctrine. But the theatrics don't stop at religion.
So it's about not taking sides against another adult or even, for sure, your sister wife.
Robin has always been adept at turning tender moments into tactical ones. Leon's coming out provided her a ready-made wedge to drive deeper between Mary and Cody. Another notch in her long game of positioning herself as the indispensable spouse. Befriending children who felt excluded or unsupported by their mothers, as she did with McKelty, became less an act of compassion and more a power play. Yes, those kids may have benefited from having at least one adult who listened to them, but the motives behind Robin's outreach remain uncomfortably murky.
I'm present and centered with Robin and her kids.
At the end of the day, the pattern is impossible to ignore. When the cameras roll, Robin beams with magnanimous acceptance. When they stop, her allegiance lies firmly with her husband and his selective theology, leaving Leon without a father, without a stepmother's genuine support, and with only a televised performance to look back on. The real relief for Robin? That the storyline belonged to someone else's child, not her own. Everyone talks about Mary's mistakes, but here's the part of the catfish story nobody wants to admit. Robin may have been closer to it than you think. Rewatching the infamous catfish episode offers a crash course in family denial, awkward body language, and selective empathy.
This season, Mary connected with another woman who believes she was the target of the same catfisher.
The Browns sat down with another woman who had also fallen victim to the same scammer. And while most family members at least attempted the performance of sympathy, Robin barely bothered. She sat at the table chewing, looking away, and radiating the energy of someone counting down the minutes until dessert.
I was almost 100% sure.
The meeting itself served little purpose. It confirmed what was already obvious. The catfisher was predatory, manipulative, and targeting multiple women.
Liza just seems super sweet.
There was no disputing that Mary had been duped, just as there was no disputing that she had been looking for more than a friendship when she wandered into this mess. For Mary, the greater risk was that any conversation might expose the truth everyone tiptoed around.
I considered leaving.
That she had been searching for a romantic escape from the plural marriage.
Do you want me to say the word? I hate saying the word.
I have a hard time.
Instead, she was forced to crawl back into the family fold humiliated, her private desperation now public scandal. Cody's acceptance of the situation came in stages. First, acknowledging Mary had been targeted, then facing Leon's warnings that it was a catfish, next, enduring the release of voicemails and messages designed to humiliate him while making the fictitious dream man look superior. And finally, watching as the catfisher milked the saga into multiple books. At every stage, Mary insisted on her victimhood, correctly but incompletely. Yes, she was deceived, but she was also exposed as someone hoping to trade in her husband for a fantasy.
I ended up in Robin's hotel room one night and
then there is Robin. Her role in this saga remains suspicious at best. She has a history of deception, financial manipulation in her first marriage, the infamous wedding dress lie, the caramel apples debacle played for laughs, and her exclusionary behavior toward the other children. More than once, she's twisted narratives to her advantage, such as the claim that Cody spent more time with her son Solomon due to special needs. Against that backdrop, her proximity to the catfish drama seems less than coincidental. Robin's best friend Kendra was close to Jackie, the catfisher, raising the possibility that Robin had prior knowledge of what was happening, or at the very least, that she wasn't blindsided like the rest of the family. By the time these scenes were filmed, the family had been slogging through the fallout for months. Interest had waned, patience had thinned, and no one was eager to relitigate Mary's online escapade yet again. But Robin's reaction stood out.
so I guess I should bring something up.
Whether nervously gulping food at a dinner in Alaska as Mary prepared to speak, or later, dismissing the catfish victim with the indifference of, send us a postcard.
Well, you gotta
Maybe give us like a warning. Well,
Robin's demeanor suggested not empathy, but self-preservation. If Mary's storyline was one of exposure and humiliation, Robin's was one of evasion. She knew more than she let on, carried a guilty conscience, and did everything in her power to keep the spotlight from shifting in her direction. The result was a family spectacle where Mary's mistakes were magnified, while Robin quietly sidestepped scrutiny. Just another day in the carefully curated hierarchy of the Brown family. Forget the drama between the wives. The real scandal is in Cody and Robin's bank account.
My hands are completely tied because everything I have asset-wise has everybody else's name on it too.
The glossy veneer of Cody and Robin's carefully crafted lifestyle has always rested on borrowed scaffolding, other people's money, shared resources, and the steady drip of reality TV checks.
Oh my heck. Like, I have nothing financially.
Now that the sister wives have packed their bags, the couple's empire looks less like a dynasty and more like a Jenga tower missing its support beams. The question is not if it collapses, but when.
And the way that we were able to buy it is we paid mostly cash.
Hints of financial panic are already visible. Cody's suggestion that Janelle, Mary, and Christine should contribute to Saul and Ari's college funds reeked of desperation. A not-so-subtle acknowledgement that the patriarch and his chosen wife may already be feeling the pinch. The family's reliance on TLC's paychecks has been no secret, and when that final season airs, the easy money dries up. There is no plausible scenario in which their savings, or lack thereof, can sustain the lifestyle they've been clinging to.
If you're going to stay in an area, buying is always fiscally responsible if the market doesn't just crater.
And let's be honest, much of what they've accumulated likely won't hold resale value. Designer trinkets and oversized houses don't exactly transform into liquid assets. When the ship sinks, Robin will do what any pragmatist does: consult a lawyer. Divorce, child support, and perhaps temporary spousal maintenance all but guarantee she'll land softer than Cody. But until the road gets truly rocky, she'll keep her seat on the gilded couch. The irony, of course, is that the most watched episode this show could ever produce would be the one TLC will never air: a forensic accountant flipping through the books. Watching the financial gymnastics of this polygamist empire would be more riveting than any contrived family meeting. Their options for post-show careers? Limited at best. Cody is unfit for any format that requires humility or instruction. Imagine him attempting to learn choreography on Dancing with the Stars. A hazard to himself, his partner, and the audience. As for Robin, her prospects aren't brighter. No network is desperate for a reality retread with her particular brand of inertia. Perhaps they're already lobbying TLC for a spin-off, but the well of public patience may be running dry. This isn't uncharted territory. Reality television is littered with has-beens forced into the real world. Kate Gosselin returned to nursing. John Gosselin picked up a standard job long before the cameras stopped rolling. The lesson is simple. The spotlight fades, but the bills never do. Even Robin herself once betrayed the family's fiscal fragility, reminding Cody during Aspen's wedding that he still had Ari's future wedding to bankroll. It was less maternal foresight and more a window into the anxious arithmetic behind the curtain. So how long before the collapse? Perhaps 12 months after the last confessional fades to black. And when it does, viewers will discover what Cody and Robin have resisted admitting all along. Their kingdom was never built on love or legacy, but on loans, stipends, and the fleeting illusion of television fame. Forget what you saw on TV. Cody never wanted Christine. He married her for status, not love.
I just can't be myself. He's just not attracted to me.
For years, viewers assumed Christine was Cody's favorite wife, the bubbly center of the Brown household. The truth, especially laid bare in her memoir, is closer to the opposite. Cody seemed to loathe her. If he wasn't outright hostile, he was at best indifferent, an attitude that stood out even against his general disdain for his original wives.
A lot of the pressure to marry Christine, I feel like, came from I'd known her for a long time.
Janelle, not Christine, appears to have been the real pre-Robin favorite. Cody never tired of calling her his best friend, a title he paraded around as proof of intimacy. Christine, by contrast, looks less like a beloved partner and more like a strategic acquisition. As the third wife, she gave Cody the celestial street cred of a super cool Mormon space afterlife and served as a buffer between Mary and Janelle, who could barely stand each other. The marriage also bolstered Cody's status. Christine was polygamy royalty, an all-red by birth, niece of one of the sect's founders. Even Cody himself bragged about marrying into that lineage.
It's true, we married under circumstances that were not romantic.
Strategic though it was, the arrangement didn't deliver the dream Christine imagined. She believed she'd be the last wife, the youngest, the cherished favorite. Instead, she was reduced to a baby factory, valued only during labor and delivery, when Cody briefly managed to act like a supportive husband. Even then, his tenderness carried an air of martyrdom, his infamous knife in the kidney lament, suggesting he viewed intimacy with her as a grim duty, a sacrifice made in service of procreation.
And for him to have a claddle ring, it just kind of ties all of us.
The lack of affection was punctuated by cruel gestures. Christine longed for a small diamond in her claddle ring, a modest request Cody repeatedly dismissed as financially impossible. Yet when Robin appeared, suddenly Cody had funds for a diamond upgrade to one of her rings, an entirely gratuitous act meant, it seemed, to prove he could afford it. He just wouldn't spend it on Christine. When she eventually hurled her own ring into the wilderness, Cody barely noticed. His belated replacement was a shrug of a gesture. Her favorite color, yes, but still no diamond.
Because you took
saw this really cool ring.
Okay.
On screen, Christine's charisma gave the family its sparkle. While Mary and Janelle faded into the background, Christine's humor and warmth carried scenes, making her the most likable of the wives. That, in Cody's universe, was unforgivable. He fancied himself the star of the show, yet audiences gravitated toward Christine. Her natural charm didn't just compete with him, it overshadowed him. Little wonder he bristled at her very personality.
He'd come over like at 5 or 6 in the evening, and he'd come and spend time.
From the start, his affection was visibly selective. In early seasons, he was openly tender with Mary and Janelle, while keeping Christine at arm's length. Only after Mary's fall from grace did Robin's ascension to favorite become obvious. Christine never filled that role. She was tolerated, not treasured.
There's no question, Robin. He's done with me.
In the end, Christine's greatest offense seems to have been existing as someone Cody could neither control nor adore. Bright enough to win the audience, unlucky enough to be married to a man who never wanted her. If reality TV therapy is your vibe, subscribing is step 1.